Instead of winning going into the third period, maybe the Sharks should just be down 2 goals heading into every third period.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today they did it, kids. We did it. The Sharks win a game, their first win since January 27th, snapping an 8-game losing streak. This one, it took some work, but they did it, winning 3-2 in a shootout over the Toronto Maple Leafs, one of the hottest teams in the NHL, your San Jose Sharks. And to make things even better, the Blackhawks also won tonight too. So we're going to talk about this game. Dig into Macklin Celebrini, who had an Macklin Celebrini's third period in overtime, kids. Mercy. We're going to talk about that. The Alex Wenberg, Celebrini kind of flip-flop, how that worked for tonight. Dig into the numbers behind this game and why it actually Toronto got kind of lucky that this game was the score that it was, and get caught up on the latest trade rumors. So let's start with of course the big win. It's just nice, again, it's just nice to win one every once in a while. We're still very much eyes on the prize here to try to get the first overall pick. But again, the Sharks weren't going to lose every game, and it helps that the Blackhawks also won tonight, as maybe Seth Jones was the problem in Chicago. That's a joke. Anyway, huge win for the Sharks, right? Being down 0-2, and it felt like, the Sharks had played really well this whole road trip, right? There has not been one game where you're like, man, that was a stinker. Sharks have played really well this entire road trip. And it felt like that goal at the end of the second period was like classic Sharks of, right, backbreaker with like 5 seconds left, go into the second intermission, down 0-2. That had the feeling like this is going to end up like 5-1, right? Toronto's just going to come out and it's just going to be like they're just going to steamroll. No, your San Jose Sharks, which keep fighting, they're not getting all the wins, but this team competes, and they competed in the third period. Ryan Warsofsky, excellent decision to swap Celebrini and Wenberg. And I think for more of it was just to try to maybe find some juice, right? Wenberg, who has been playing very well since the Four Nations. You could argue he's been the Sharks' best player since the Four Nations break. He just add a little juice, just try to switch things up here a little bit, and it worked, right? Wenberg, 2 assists tonight on the Toffoli goal and shot that leads to the Jack Thompson goal. Like, Wenberg was great tonight, absolutely great tonight. And like, I'm not trying to take, but Celebrini didn't get any points tonight, but that third period, right, where it felt like he had a chip on it. I wonder if just the demotion or maybe whatever, something was said, but he came out in the third period and was flying. And then overtime, Macklin Celebrini is going to be such a bully to people, and you see it now. How often does he get under, like, guys? He just gets better leverage, gets under, and just steals the puck away from people. When Macklin Celebrini gets his big boy body, just watch out. But tonight, he was making ridiculous MVP style passes, and again, Macklin Celebrini's not going to win the MVP right now, but Macklin Celebrini is going to win the MVP one day. Just absolute beautiful passes, high danger. How many times does Macklin Celebrini get the puck on the boards And that pass ends up as a pass to a high danger area in the slot to a guy who's wide open. There was the pass where he gets it. He makes a blind spinorama pass to perfect pass to Will Smith. Will Smith just misses on a potential. Like that would have been one of the highlight goals of the year. Will Smith scores there. Even at the end of overtime, Celebrini in that doggedness, like that dog in him. I'm going to just go get the puck and take it away from you. He gets the puck to Will Smith. And I thought Will Smith was I thought Will Smith was going to win the game at the end of the like um those two kids are going to take the Sharks a lot of places. Will Smith, I thought, played well again tonight. Like you see why you should be super excited as a Sharks fan. Like the future is so bright because of those two kids. And yes, we still have a long way to go. And right, and this season's still going to be a lost season where they're going to be the last team in the NHL, most likely the last team in the NHL, and they're going to be picking high in the draft. And that's fine, right? And the wins and losses, like they don't matter, to be honest. And yes, it was great for them to win tonight. The team needed it. Like you saw when Zetterlund scored in a shootout, how he got mobbed, right? This was a team that needed a win because they needed to be rewarded for their efforts. This team has played super well since the Four Nations, right? Even like the Jets game was the one game where they got like punked, like, you know, when you look at the analytics and stuff, but they got great goaltending. And they kept him in that game. All the other games, they like you could argue they've won 2 out of 3 periods, right? Tonight, maybe, you know, they definitely won the third period, but even the first period, they won the first period tonight as well. And we'll dig into the numbers here in a little bit, but the Sharks have been playing well, and they just haven't been able to kind of catch some bounces, catch some breaks. And tonight, right, how we like last year's team going into 0-2 down 0-2 into the third period, that game would have been 5-1, 6-0 type of performance. But that's the difference from this year's team compared to last year's is this team keeps fighting and they keep working. And yeah, again, they're not going to win a lot of games, but going like you're raising the Titanic, right? And going from getting blown out every game last year to losing a bunch of 1-goal games this year, like that's a big jump. That's a big jump, right? I think we forget how often this team got blown out last year, and now you're competitive in every game. And that's the hope is now starting next year, right? Those competitive losses start to turn into competitive wins just a little bit more. So, but Celebrini was awesome tonight. Also the defense, man. Again, I know Mario Ferraro, dude was all over the place. You could tell like the defense tonight. I know like half the team, it was a homecoming event for them, you know, being from Toronto. Jack Thompson with a goal. I thought Mario Ferraro was all over the place tonight, in a good way. Making plays all over the ice. Like he stood up for his teammate with that fight. Like Mario Ferraro was had himself a great night, and he has played better recently. And you wonder if maybe the finding the right partner or some changes in the tactics or whatever it has been. Ferraro has been playing much, much better recently. So we'll see what that means for Ferraro in his future. And we'll kind of talk about the trade rumors here at the end of the podcast. But like, it's just nice to win a game. And it's nice to come on here and talk about a win for once in a while because again, like 8 straight losses is that's a lot, right? So looking ahead, like you know, the Sharks here, they play Buffalo. They play Buffalo, who's also going to be on the second night of a back-to-back, just like the Sharks. You play Colorado, who's you're probably not winning that one. Islanders, Nashville, like there's some winnable games coming up here before the Sharks have a tough stretch of games coming up, including another game against Toronto, but and plenty of games against teams that need the wins for the playoffs. So enjoy the win tonight, like much deserved. One like and finally getting a shootout win. Just finally getting a shootout win. First shootout win of the season. I think they were 0 for 4 going into tonight. So it it was a great night. So we're going to dig into the numbers behind this game, and then we'll talk about some of the trade rumors. Elliot Freeman with his 32 thoughts. Of course, they went through all the teams, so we'll kind of react to some of those, some of that stuff here. So we'll get to numbers here in just 1 second. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help you keep feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the in-shell variety. I just like the satisfying crack. Eating it, I like mine with the salted version personally, but if you don't want to do all the work, I understand. They also have no shells. They come in a bunch of different flavors. And if you're like me, you use the shells to make little forts because you're a child at heart. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. All right, before we continue, we dig into the numbers of this game. Do, of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. If you haven't yet, perfect time to subscribe. Of course, we have the trade deadline coming up on Friday. So we'll have react to all the news and big dealings and small dealings that Mike Greer makes. The push to 4,000 subscribers is on for YouTube. So if you haven't yet, please do so. We are closing in fast. Would love to hit it by Friday. Would love to hit it by the trade deadline or by the end of the trade deadline. So, or if you listen on audio, subscribe. We'll keep putting out products on there as well. So let's dig into the numbers of this game. Do want to spend some time talking about the trade deadline at the end. So we're kind of, I know it's a big win and stuff, but we have trade deadline stuff we want to kind of make sure we keep an eye on. So in this game, we had 50 minutes and 23 seconds of 5-on-5 time. Shot attempts 49-46 in favor of the Leafs. Actual shots at 5-on-5 was 17-17. Scoring chances 22-19 in favor of your Sharks. 8-7 high danger chances. 2.33 to 1.44 expected goals for in favor of the Sharks. And I think the big thing is the special teams, right? Sharks giving up 2 power play goals in this game was the big difference, because at 5-on-5, these teams were really evenly matched, and you could even say the Sharks had an advantage in some of the key areas here. But I will say, though, the penalty kill came up huge, full 2 minutes, 4-on-3. Toronto's got the core 4 out there. Like it felt very much like this thing was over, and they made some big blocks. Georgiev made some huge stops when they needed it. And they found a way. They found a way in this game. So, but the first period was, I think, marred by, right, you had 3 power play opportunities in there. So a little bit of a choppy start there, but third period, right, when you're pushing to come back, 19-16 shot attempts in the third period in favor of the Sharks. Actual shots, though, was 9-2, 11-5 scoring chances, 4-2 high danger chances, 1.14 to 0.31 expected goals for. And again, the Leafs, Stolarz has been excellent this year. He's got a great record against the Sharks, but the Sharks kept pushing and pushing and pushing. They spent basically the entire time getting quality shots against the Maple Leafs there. So I think that third period was huge for San Jose to push back in this game and really push to try to tie things up. So looking at the lines, that are going to be a little funky again because of the third period here, but Kunin, Dellinger, Goudreau actually played the most together as a line. They played 846, 6-9 shot attempts. They had 3-4 actual shots, 0.3 to 0.49 expected goals for, 1-6 scoring chances, 1-3 high danger chances. That line was a little tough tonight for them. Macklin, Celebrini, Toffoli played 7-10, 5-10 shot attempts, 1-3 actual shots, 0.2 to 0.08 expected goals for, 2-3 scoring chances, and 1-0 high danger chances. So, like, that line was okay tonight, right? And maybe like you typically see a little bit more kind of shots on goal, and you typically see a little bit more from them. But I think that kind of speaks to why Warsofsky kind of just changed things up here. So the Zetterlund, Wenberg, Smith line played 630, 5-7 shot attempts, 2-5 actual shots, 0.13 to 0.22 expected goals, 4 and 3-3 scoring chances, 0-1 high danger chances. So kind of same thing, right? Just a little stale, or just it wasn't kind of working tonight. So let's look at what happened when they changed the line. Actually, we'll do the graph. Grafstrom, Grunstrom, Sturm, Grunstrom, 5-10, 2-5 shot attempts, 1-3 shots, 0.05 to 0.39. Graph, nice job beating out icing. That kid's got wheels. But anyway, let's look at. So Zetterlund, Celebrini, Smith played 558 at 5-on-5. 11-3 shot attempts, 6-1 actual shots on goal, 0.75 to 0.01 expected goals, 6-0 scoring chances, 3-0 high danger chances. That line, they set the table for the Wenberg line. Like the Wenberg line got the credit with the 2 goals, right? That Celebrini line was cooking. Celebrini, Smith, Zetterlund, and I'm curious to see what happens. Maybe it's just a break glass in case of emergency type of performance if we need to put Smith and Celebrini back together. But wow, what a job. Eklund, Wenberg, to Foley, they played 349, 4-3 shot attempts, 2-0 actual shots, had the 2 goals, 0.26 to 0 expected goals, 3-0 scoring chances of 1-0 high danger. So it's like that line did well as well. Like it wasn't, like they weren't just out there coasting around and doing nothing and just kind of, but like that Celebrini Smith, man, when those 2 kids are cooking, it's a different ball game. So good to see from them. As for, we'll start with Alexander Gorgiev, who played very well tonight. 25 saves and 27 shots in all situations, 2 goals against, 3.24 expected goals against. So he positive night there. 926 save percentage, 6-7 high danger, 9-9 mid danger, 9-10 low danger, and made 3 of 4 saves in the shootout as well. Gorgiev, the goaltending has not been the problem since Four Nations. So good to see that. Do I think it's sustainable for the goalies? Probably not. But let's enjoy some decent goaltending right now, because the Sharks are definitely getting some decent goaltending right now. As for the defensive pairings tonight, so Ferraro, Mukhamadullin led the way at Corsi at 50%, 15 shots for, 15 against. Mukhamadullin, 3 assists in 5 games. And Mukhamadullin has been playing on the right side with Ferraro. Noted left-handed shot. Shakir Mukhamadullin playing on the right side. Wallman, Liljegren tonight, 12 of 14, 46.15%. Corsi 4, and then Vlasic Thompson, 9 of 11, 45%. Corsi 4. So I thought Thompson looks good. Like I really like Thompson's game. I love the goal. Like he reads the play perfectly, jumps in there. I thought plays tough in front of his net. Like you love what you're seeing from the young defenseman right now from the Sharks. And I thought Jake Wallman had a great game tonight as well. Seeing that kind of classic Jake Wallman, he's going to do some stuff that, worries you a little bit here and there, but he's most of the time is going to kind of work out for him. So great win for your San Jose Sharks as they snap an 8-game losing streak, their first win since they beat the Penguins on January 27th. It's been over a calendar month. Yes, I know they had 2 weeks off with the Four Nations, but it has been a while since the Sharks won a game. And the young again, Smith, Celebrini, maybe not getting on the scoreboard tonight, but they were a big reason why the Sharks won this game. And Alex Wenberg, turns out he's not too bad. So we're going to kind of button up this game here. We're going to shift our focus on the trade deadline as it is on Friday. We're going to talk about 32 thoughts and what Elliot Friedman said in that, and kind of what to expect as we get closer here to the trade deadline. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up, we get caught up on the trade deadline, all that fun stuff. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows here at Locked On. You have Locked On NHL. I'm actually not on the Tuesday. I'll be on the Friday episode. Trade deadline reactions with Gil and I, so you can check me out there. We had to make a swap. But anyway, so I will be on the Friday episode I'll be doing this. I'll record the Sharks, and then we're talking NHL out there. So plenty of great stuff. Or check out one of the other shows here in the Bay Area. Of course, you have Locked On Niners, Locked On Warriors, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants, all those great shows wherever you can find this show. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Okay. Trade deadline thoughts. So we are getting closer. We're, less than a week away. It feels very much like we have, we've gotten some big moves. The Sharks don't really have that last kind of big piece left. And I 100% believe someone's going to trade for Luke Kunin. It sounds like Luke Kunin is kind of a player that teams like to have in their bottom six. He can play on the center. He can, play on the penalty kill. He's got a little bit of a scoring pop, a little bit of snarl. Like Luke Kunin will be traded at this trade deadline. You hear Toronto, I know, is a team that is definitely interested. I don't think Luke Kunin played super well tonight. The second penalty, like a little soft. He's also that's a slash. It's a slash. But anyway, but Luke Kunin is a player that the Sharks playoff teams like Luke Kunin type of players who, he's gonna be good in the room. He's gonna know his role. He's gonna go out and do his job like that. You don't have to kind of worry about him. So that's I fully expect him to kind of be traded. And Toronto sounds like a team that's very much interested in Luke Kunin. Elliot Friedman did go on to say, kind of the normal litany of people. He talks about Jan Ruda, who is injured. We'll see what happens with him. The Sharks are on a long road trip, so we probably won't find out anything about Jan Ruda until the San Jose gets back. And by then it's going to be the trade deadline. So we'll kind of see. Sharks also did recall, before I forget, they did put Henry Thrun on IR, and Jimmy Schultz was brought up. We'll see if he makes it into the lineup on Tuesday. But anyway, and then Walker Durer was also placed on IR. Or not on IR, sorry, excuse me. Placed on waivers. We'll know more. We'll know at 11 a.m. on Tuesday if Walker Durer is going to be in or is going to be in the Barracuda, or if another team picked him up. So anyway, really quick with those. But yeah, we heard the normal names, right? So Nico Sturm, I fully expect to be traded as well. It's kind of the same thing as Luke Kunin. He's going to be a great fourth line center, right? Nico Sturm, one of the best face-off men in the NHL, play on the penalty kill, whatever you need Nico Sturm to do, Nico Sturm's going to be able to do that. So you fully expect that. Interesting, though, that Elliot Friedman did also mention Ty Dellandrea. Dellandrea does have 1 year left on his deal after this season at 1.3 and is an RFA for that. So you would be trading for a cost-controlled type of player. So teams like that, especially, it just helps them kind of budget. Dellandrea, probably a fourth line type of guy, can play center as well. Just a reminder, the Sharks traded a fourth round pick for Dellandrea this offseason from the Dallas Stars in the 2025 draft. And then he went on to sign a 2-year deal at 1.3. I would fully expect something similar in return if the Sharks wanted to make a similar trade, right? Probably a fourth round pick, maybe a B-level-ish prospect, or a player who that's you're not getting a top prospect or anything like that, but just another piece that you can kind of figure out. So maybe a guy who has waivers exemption that can help the Barracuda type of player who's maybe like one of those guys who's played some NHL games, but maybe needs a little bit more time in the AHL. Somebody like that, who's also projecting to kind of be a bottom 6 type of player. That's what I would expect. So maybe something like that, or a similar type of pick. Maybe they bumped up his trade value to a 3rd round, where again you have a guy who is cost controlled in a weaker draft. So maybe the Sharks could potentially make the play, the push for a 3rd round pick for him. The other one, at least among the, I think from the forwards, that's probably it among those guys, right? It's Kunin, it's Nico Sturm. So defense, it's still Mario Ferraro. The Sharks are going to put up a big, like, if they're going to trade Mario Ferraro, like they have a price and you have to meet the price, because the Sharks are perfectly fine having Mario Ferraro around. So we'll see. Ferraro has helped himself, I think, a lot since the Four Nation. I don't know, again, maybe the tweaks in the system or finding the right partner or whatever it has been for Ferraro. He has played pretty well over the past week since the Four Nations break. I still think if I had to guess, I think it's like a 2nd round pick for Mario Ferraro is probably the starting point. Maybe like that's what I would assume is the cost, or a quality prospect. Again, this draft class is not the greatest, and you wonder with Mike Greer if, and this is a conversation we'll have over the summer, but right, getting all these picks is great. Does Mike Greer try to package some of them up to either move up in the draft, what's again a weak draft class, so maybe try to go get somebody else in the top 15-ish or something like that, especially if you have the Dallas pick, or do you use those assets to go get a good young NHL player? Conversation for a different day, but curious there. Elliot Friedman did also mention Fabian Zetterlund, and he didn't mention him in a trade, but he just mentioned him out there as like, okay, Fabian Zetterlund, who did score the game-winning goal in the shootout tonight, of what does his contract look like? And that's an excellent question, right? So Fabian Zetterlund, who's on a great contract right now at $1.45 million, does have arbitration rights for this off season. So that means basically like he can kind of argue his case, what he's expected to make next year, all that fun stuff. So his qualifying offer is going to be 1.5 million, which is way below market. Like he's more than deserving of a raise from there. So it's like we had a big conversation at the beginning in the off season, if you recall, like, okay, well, what should Fabian Zetterlund look like his contract potentially look like? Because right, like that is going to be a big question for the Sharks, is what do you, and we looked at some contracts like Joel Farabee and some of these other guys, and it was up there in the $5+ million range. Zetterlund, he's had a solid year, but I think he definitely shows his limitations and stuff. And you're looking at a guy who is right kind of in the prime of his career. Maybe when as the Sharks continue to get better, he's gonna be a guy who's probably a 3rd line player, right? With Smith and Macklin and Celebrini and whoever else the Sharks acquire, he's probably going to be a 3rd line player, and I think that's a solid role for him. So, our good friends over at AFP Analytics, they have him signing a 2-year deal at $3.82 million, which honestly I think is really fair, especially for a scoring 3rd line guy, right? And right now we'll just call it, he's a middle 6 type of guy, but I think as the Sharks continue to get better, Zetterlund's probably right. He's going to see his role reduced as you have guys like Smith continue to get better, and like Quint Musty when he kind of starts to make his impact. And the Sharks, I think, are definitely going to be in the market to find a middle six guy this offseason, to try to like have 3 good lines instead of just 1.5 good lines. I do think you're going to see Zetterlund's role start to get reduced a little bit, but I'm not for trading Zetterlund because you still need good players, right? And Zetterlund's a good player. He's still young, still young enough where he's going to be part of this team long term. I think if you wanted to sign him to a 2-year deal and kind of see how it goes over the next 2 years, or if you're Zetterlund, right, it's probably going to be pushing for a longer term deal. And, that's going to be a conversation that they have. But I think Zetterlund's good for this team, and I would not be. We've already chased out a lot of great players, and you have to start building. You have to start building here, and I think Zetterlund is a guy that you want to have around. And again, is he going to be a potential 25 goal scorer? Maybe not, but can he be a 20 goal scorer for you on the third line, playing some power play for you as well? Yeah, that's fine. And those guys are going to cost about $4 million a year. That's basically what they're going to be cost. So anyway, just interesting. I thought that the Landry news was interesting that he's been out there. Ellie Friedman did also say he doesn't expect Gorgiev or Vanacek. Teams are just not interested in them, which you fully expect with their contract hits and their play. We're just going to ride this out until the free agency and until the end of the season. Then we get to spend half the offseason talking about who's going to back up Askarov. So, and we'll have plenty of fun doing that. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. We have a Buffalo Sabres preview. Those are YouTube exclusive, about 10 minutes long, probably be up around lunchtime-ish. So you can go check that out to get to know the Sabres. And of course, we'll have a reaction to the Sabres game tomorrow night as well. So make sure you are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Till tomorrow. Bye, friends.